Hey, 4C Divers, it is Facebook Live. Thank you for signing in today. We have a great presentation planned. My name is Nicole. I'm your 4C Scuba social media director. And next to me, I have Adam. Everybody.
Hey guys, which hand is it? Which hand is it? I don't worry.
And we have a great presentation planned tonight about scuba camps for kids. We also have another guest instructor coming in. I'll introduce her in just a second. But real quick, if you're listening to us right now, give us a thumbs up, a smiley face, or a heart emoji. Also, you can write in the comments where you're listening in from. We want to know, are you here in Florida? Are you outside of the Florida area? Are you in another country? Who knows? But we want to know if you're listening in. And also, please interact with us during this presentation. We're going to be talking about kids camps and why kids should learn to scuba dive and what the benefits are. And if you have any questions whatsoever, write them in the comment section and we will get to those questions a little bit later. And definitely make sure that you go to www.force-e.com and go to our event tab on the top, drop down, find tonight's event, and go ahead and click on it. And what you're going to want to do is register for tonight because we have a coupon code that we're going to be sending to you. So if you want to send or sign up your kids for one of our 5-day course camps, we're going to give you $100 off because you watched our Facebook Live. How awesome is that?
That's awesome. We got some viewers. Look, people said hi already.
Oh,
hi Shannon.
Hi, everybody. All right. So again, go ahead and tell us where you're listening in from and give us that thumbs up, that heart emoji, or that smiley face. Let us know that you are listening and having a good time with us. All right. Let me bring in Cheryl. All right. Hold on, Cheryl. Let's get you in here.
Hi.
There she is. All
Hello,
right.
everyone.
Everybody, if you know, this is 4C instructor Cheryl. She is one of our Pompano store staff members and an instructor for us. She's been teaching how many years with us now?
5.
5. There we go. And Cheryl is one of our go-to kids camp instructors. She loves teaching the kids, and the programs are awesome, and she does a really good job. Last year, I also taught, so I'm on here. And Adam is new to our teaching staff. However, he is a marine science teacher.
Yeah, I teach marine science for our county school district. I've been teaching for 5 years, and I got a master's at Nova Southeastern University at the Oceanographic Center. So I like to combine my knowledge with the actual fact that I get to go diving all the time as a scuba instructor. So it's pretty neat. I'm excited to be here and work with 4C, who I've known forever. I've known you for years and years.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And some other instructors that weren't able to join us tonight, but they are also teaching some of the camps this summer for us is Meg Lovelace. She's up at our Riviera store. Meg, if you're listening, say hello to everybody. Usually Meg is on our Facebook Lives. And the other instructor is Jeremy Tanner, and he's out of our Boca store, and he is offering the open water kids camps up at the Boca store. So we have camps throughout all of our different locations, and we are going to give you more information to tailor how to pick which camp is right for your child. Another thing, you know, Adam, you mentioned that you have a marine science background. I don't know if you guys know this. I graduated college with a zoology degree. And so I went into marine animals and science because I was like, I want to teach not just adults, but kids. And so one of my passions is when I teach is to tell kids about how they can dive with the animals that they're seeing, but also how to do ocean conservation work so that they can continue seeing the animals that they dive with. And what I've done with Cheryl in the past in some of the programs is we've teamed up and we've done fish ID, we've done beach cleanups during some of these camps. So we offer all kinds of really cool little extra goodies, not just the diving. We actually give you a little bit more than just taking a dive class because we want you guys to fall in love with what you're seeing in the ocean. And the kids seem to really love it.
That's why I went into teaching kids as well, because I realized that you make a bigger impact on kids that genuinely care so much about everything, and then they love the ocean. So then you combine those two and they end up caring for the ocean their whole lives and make a much greater difference. Adults are kind of already like set in their ways. When you teach them, they go, "Oh, that's interesting," and it doesn't create as big of an impact. When you can change the lives of a youngster, and then they grow up appreciating everything on the ocean, it's sharing that knowledge and imparting that upon them changes the way that they think about the ocean. They live right here in Florida, so what better place to do it?
And Cheryl.
Hey guys, yeah, I was just gonna say, just real quick, my background is I was an emergency and surgical ICU nurse for 25 years, raised 3 kids, have a grandbaby this year. And one of the things I love about teaching kids is they're so open to learn. And for me, safety is number one. And I just love showing kids, you know, as early as 8, which we'll talk about later, just, you know, in the pool, having fun, because that's ultimately, we want these kids to learn to dive, to be safe, and to have fun, so they'll do it for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good note. So as Cheryl mentioned, she was an ICU nurse. So all 3 of us, actually all of the instructors that would be teaching your kids are all certified scuba instructors, but they're also all EFR or CPR certified trainers and instructors for that. So your kids are in good hands. We've all been doing this for quite some time. And I've actually been told, if any of my moms are watching right now, the kids from last year, I'm called Mama Bear underwater because I have a 5-year-old, which you guys all know, she usually pops up on the Facebook Lives and just randomly. And so being a mom, you know, it's really great because, I mean, if I was to sign my kid up for a camp, I want to know that they're staying safe, like Cheryl said, but they're also having fun. And so what's great about that is, you know, all of us, you know, work with kids, you know, being a teacher, being a mom, being a grandma, and we understand that, you know, we're taking on your kids and we want to make sure that they're having fun and staying safe. So awesome. All right. So Cheryl, I'm going to go ahead and pop up the PowerPoint here. So give me 1 second. And Cheryl, somebody said that they're having a problem hearing you. I don't know if you need to turn up the volume.
Okay. So.
All right. Okay, everyone. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So kids scuba camps. Featuring your 4C instructors. We did our intros about us, and we want to go ahead and go into, you know, kids diving these days. You know, not a lot of the dive equipment back in the day was designed for kids. It was usually just for adults. And so what ended up happening was there was a need for kids scuba equipment. So you are seeing the BCDs now and the smaller regulators with mouthpieces that work for the kids. You're also seeing the fins, the masks tailored to kids now and make it more easy and more comfortable for them to learn diving more now than they were back in the day. All right. All right. So why do kids want to learn to dive? That's easy. They want to explore the underwater world. Another reason is they want to have fun with their family. And another one is they want to make friends with other kids and maybe even critters. So a couple of things about this, guys. Hold on. I'm going to bring us back up here. There we are. Okay. So Adam and I were talking about, you know, why do kids want to learn to dive? Well, I don't know if you know this about me. I started diving when I was 12 years old. One
That's
cool,
a great age.
Yeah. One cool thing about my diving experience is I got to learn with my parents because they were already divers and they had a boat, they had all the gear. And so my dad would just throw me in the pool and say, here, just never stop breathing. And my mom was like, you're not a scuba instructor. Let's get a scuba instructor. So I had to take classes, and back then it was 12 and older to get certified, but since then it's changed the age. But definitely I started diving as a child. I loved it. I used to get really seasick, and so sometimes I would just opt to stay in the pool instead of going in the ocean. But ever since I went into college and started diving a little bit more, I went on to making it a career, where the love of diving made me realize that I could have a career in scuba. And I started working for my college, San Diego State, on the research dive team. And from there, I got an internship with the US Navy, and we worked with the Marine Mammal Program. And for 4 months, I got to shadow how the Marine Mammal Program trained dolphins and sea lions to find divers, swimmers, and detect underwater mines. And so because of that love of the ocean that I got back when I was a kid, I was able to turn it into a passion and a career. Now, down the road, 6 years later, as a dolphin trainer for the Navy and a diver for the Navy, I wasn't actually in the Navy, I was a contractor, but anyways, I said, you know what? I want to start traveling around the world, and I want to become a dive instructor and teach people about diving and get them involved in ocean conservation. So that led me around the world to different places like Hawaii. I went to Thailand. I came over here to Florida, and I fell in love with the local diving here in Florida. So like I said, sometimes a kid doesn't realize that maybe diving can be a career. And that was the path that I chose. But another thing that was great is I got to travel with my family and see really cool destinations. And that's one memory that I will always keep in the back of my mind as dive with my dad. Now, one thing that's really funny is when I started diving, I had this mask that literally looked like a big brick on my face. And some of the photos,
I remember those types of masks.
Yeah, I should have put that photo in I'll have to share it with you guys on Facebook, but the picture of me with this big brick mask on, it was
maybe my first mask.
Yeah.
They were not comfortable.
They were not. And so now, like I said, they started making equipment that fits spaces for kids now. So, and it looks cooler, I think, too. They've got cool colors now. I mean, it was just always black and that was it. So
the kids look cute when they have the big mask.
So Adam actually started diving when he was a little bit older as a teenager, but Adam, what was your experience?
Well, first of all, that was a really cool story. That was awesome. Did you know that you were going to get hooked when you were 12 years old into it that much? I mean, you just got thrown in the pool, and from that moment, your whole life took off.
Yeah. I literally was like, I want to work in the ocean somehow, some way.
That's amazing.
Get me in the ocean.
So I started young too. I grew up on Long Island, and I was always surrounded by water. We had boats. My dad had a boat. We go out fishing. We go out raking for clams. The water's not as nice on Long Island, so that's a reason why I might have taken a little bit longer to get scuba certified. But I was 18. I moved down here to go to school and go to college. The first thing I did, the first month, I was like, I'm getting scuba certified. In high school, I was a volunteer at the New York Aquarium, and I used to work in front of the coral reef exhibit. And just dream one day, I'm like, I'm going to scuba dive. I'm going to do this. And I was a docent. So a docent educates the public about that exhibit. So I would have my little display of corals and whatever. And this is a living animal. It's not a plant. It's coral. And then explain about that. And then I knew I wanted to go to school for marine science. So I came down here. And like I said, the first month in August, I got scuba certified. And from then I did my advance. And then I ended up going to Nova Southeastern, and I started doing more research diving. And then I was like, I really like the diving more than I like anything else. So I became a professional. And you're right. There's a career that you just find yourself in if it really takes off. And the diving is, amazing in itself, but it really it picks up the opportunities that are there that you may not have at any other place unless you get certified. And then the travel. I mean, I've gone to so many places, and it's like, hey, you have scuba diving here. Let's go in the water. I didn't even know you can scuba dive here. So it's cool to have all of that. And when it starts as a kid, then it just lasts so much longer. It becomes I've been scuba diving longer. Well, I can say that. I'm not gonna give my age away, but I spent a long time of my life scuba diving. When I think about it.
Yeah, and the other thing I was just reminding is that anybody that have kids that maybe need a little bit more attention. Sometimes scuba diving, when you do the one-on-one with an instructor, gives them that attention and helps them with attention span.
Yeah.
And I definitely know that I've worked with kids that either do really well in a group setting or sometimes in a one-on-one setting. And I know now, especially with COVID, it's harder to do more group settings because, we need to, socially distance and do their part there. But, sometimes, singling out and doing one-on-one is a lot easier on a child to be able to focus and really learn the skills that they need to scuba. So taking advantage of the fact that when you're underwater, you're one-on-one with yourself. So you're learning those techniques, and then you also have a buddy next to you. And, whether that's your parent, whether that's a dive instructor, or maybe another kid, and then you have a parent that's going along with you. But it's not like it's a big soccer team where it's like so many things going on, and
that's true.
And some kids kind of get lost in the mix, and you don't want that. You want your kid to be engaged.
Yeah, I feel like, I remember like on the baseball team, there's like 15 of you, and then where's Johnny over there? Like and like it's not like that because we're together, it's a group, and it is more engaging that way. Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention is the therapeutic aspects of diving. I mean, I don't know if you guys are feeling the aches and pains of your backs as you get older, or your knees, or your legs. And I just know that when I dive, it is a sense of exercise. And for me, I find that working with kids that maybe don't really like to do sports, they don't consider this a sport, but it's exercise.
It is a sport, yeah. It is.
So
it is exercise.
Actually, I think I'm kind of jumping the gun here. Let me.
About the next slide
the benefits. The benefits.
There's so many benefits. That's why it's so hard not to talk about the benefits of scuba diving.
All right, so let's pull up the benefits, you guys. And Cheryl, if you have anything, just jump in and let us know. All right, so the first one that we came up with was first and foremost, teaching kids open to learning, and they have no fear.
Yeah.
I mean, kids literally you tell them, put this thing in your mouth, start breathing, and jump into water and go 20 feet under the water. They're like, okay. I mean, they literally, they trust you. And I think that tends to help because if anybody, an adult that doesn't know how to swim, it's so hard for them to learn because you get that fear and you feel out of control with your body and your movements. Whereas kids are like, it's new to them, but they're not fearful.
And adults think of so many extra things that they don't have to think about. And the kid, I mean, that's our job as the instructor and the adult, So, and the kids just, they focus on what they need to focus on is learning what they need to learn to do it successfully, be well at it. And then, but then they pick it up so fast. They do it well. So that's the key part of it. And the whole, well, Cheryl, go ahead.
Too is, with children, we explain everything just like we do with adults, but the children will actually believe us 100%. Where as adults, we definitely, we have more fears, we're more skeptical. So when we tell them that, the regulator, it's okay, it's going to work, the children automatically believe us, and they trust. We show them that it works and they trust us. Where with adults, sometimes, like I said, it's a larger hurdle. So getting them to participate and to learn this awesome sport early has so many benefits.
And that goes into gaining confidence. I mean, you can watch a kid who comes in and they're not very sure of themselves, and then all of a sudden by the end they're beaming. They're like, wow, this was an amazing experience. And you see that the confidence just beaming out of them.
I've seen that many times. I mean, I've worked on it as a dive master on boats for a long time too. And I see kids that are very, very shy and timid towards the end of getting certified, and they continue to dive. They're so much more confident in the water. And they're just like, I'm going in, I'm ready to go towards the end of diving. And I've seen it over and over again because I put a lot of divers in the water just on dive boats, just working it as a mate. And that's really rewarding to see them find that within themselves. That's part of it. They build the skill. It's like, and then it becomes part of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing. Go ahead,
sorry. I was just going to say, hey guys, it's so interesting. A lot of times the kids will come back and they'll say, I asked my other students, my friends in class, does anybody else dive? And they'll come back and they'll say maybe one or two. And they become so proud of themselves. They're like, I did something that so many other kids haven't done yet. Or, so the confidence is amazing.
Or they see a bunch of adults doing it too. And they're like, oh, I can do this as well as an adult, or even better. Some of them
I'm part of the club.
Yeah, kids have really good air consumption, unless they're like running around the reef. But most of the time, they have really good air consumption because they got those little lungs and they don't breathe as much as an adult does. So, so another thing is we talked about good physical activity for a kid to do. Like I said, instead of a kid that really doesn't like to run around and kick a soccer ball or, do dancing classes, like this is actually an activity and it's a sport. It's just, it doesn't seem like it because you're in the water and you feel like you're going slow. But according to one of the, I think a Sport Diver magazine, they did an article, you burn like 500 calories a dive. And I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, you're trying to tell me that I burn this many calories?
Yeah.
And why am I not skinnier, Adam? But anyways, but you do burn calories, and so it is an activity. So that's one thing to note. Another,
you know what, to add off that though, also when I'm thinking about what I've seen, when I see kids diving, it impresses me how much, because they're involved in that activity, this goes away.
Oh yeah.
Like the cell phone,
Yeah.
and that's how I know they're having fun and they're really engaged, because they're not on their phone. Of course, you have, you know, and I mean, there's times like, oh, I just did, this is awesome, whatever, and they want to tell their friends they did something, whatever. But that it's a good period of time when they're off of that device and they're looking at nature, they're involved in activity, and they're doing something physical and taking in their surroundings, not looking at a screen. So that's another reason why you know, the kids really do well at it.
Everybody really quick, say hi, Meg, one of our instructors. She's listening in. So everyone say hi to Meg. Okay, another benefit is ready-made friends. I mean, if you're a diver, you already know this. You kind of become a part of the club when it comes to making diving friends.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a friend that has the same interests as you, it means that you can go out and do a dive together. You can also get involved in dive clubs. Now, I'm not sure if any kids dive clubs, but as they get older, there are dive clubs out there. And I know there's a lot of different interests that you can also have. I've taught a few kids who were interested in photography. So they brought their GoPros out and they kind of did that together, and they made little movies of each other. And then it was really funny. If your kid's into doing the TikTok dances, oh my gosh, I had these little girls over the summer and they would stand on the sand in the water and I would have to film them.
I know we did that.
Yeah, and they would do these like TikTok dance movements. And then we would get back on the boat and they were like, oh, that was the TikTok dance. La, 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 la. And it was so funny. So again, it's a really great activity for kids.
I know
and
Baby Shark.
Funds.
That's it.
You know Baby
I don't
Shark.
That's TikTok. Though.
That's not TikTok. All right. Another benefit is you can actually use this for a credit for classes when you get into the high school and college level. Like I said, my background, I went to San Diego State, and I was able to get college credit when I took the classes to become a research diver, and it helped me, you know, with my graduation stuff. So
I teach marine science as my subject area in high school, and the kids that are scuba certified are benefiting so much more. I mean, they're all benefiting, but they're seeing stuff that I'm talking about in the classroom. So they'll be like, Mr. Nardelli, I know exactly what you're talking about, because when I scuba dive, I saw this, this, and this, and they have stories to tell about it. So so marine science is a big curriculum course that they offer at high school. You need 3 sciences, and the only mandatory one is biology. So most kids then take chemistry and marine science as the other 2. So this kind of gives them a leg up and getting ready for that.
Okay, and another benefit is travel and seeing things. You know, how cool are you if you come back to school over your summer break and you get to say, hey guys, I got to scuba dive with a shark and a sea turtle this summer.
Right.
I mean, that's like bragging rights right there. So, you know, doing those activities and taking your, you know, kids on your vacations with you. You no longer have to find someone to babysit, because they can be instant dive buddies for you. Actually, they tend to be better dive buddies because they're going to stick next to you and they're going to trust you. So sometimes when you find a dive buddy, when you find a dive buddy that you don't know, they're like, okay, whatever. And they like kind of swim away from you, but your kid's going to stay next to you. Well, there's some kids that might be like, peace out, I'm bye.
Either that, or just because they're so they're just fast and they want to be like, I want to see this, I want to see that, might be the only reason. Yeah, because they're too excited.
Yeah. Cheryl, did you ever travel with your kids?
I did, actually. I was just going to say, honestly, yeah, I've gone to like the Great Barrier Reef and of course places in the Caribbean and the Bahamas. But I think what's most amazing, you know, getting your child certified, even now during COVID, we have some of the best diving here in South Florida. I mean, and it is so different.
Yeah.
Literally from Jupiter, you know, that diving up there is very different than if you go to like Boynton Beach area. And then if you go down to Pompano, down to the Keys, it is all so different, but so amazing in different ways, you know? So right now, yeah, even during COVID, when we can't get out of the country, there's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
That's a great ad there, Cheryl, definitely. And it's Florida has great sites that are good for children. I mean, yeah, we have some deeper stuff that children can't, access because of the depth ratings that they're restricted to. But I mean, you've got world-class Blue Heron Bridge in our backyard. If anybody is listening, you've never dove the Blue Heron Bridge, you have to. I was there today. I had 2 seahorses, 4 octopus,
cool.
a sea robin, a batfish, a big stingray. I mean, it was amazing. And I did a 2-hour dive there because
awesome.
It's only 10 feet, 12 feet of water. And it's easy
you
for
get
kids.
A little deeper in some places.
You can, but it's easy to do with kids because it's nice and shallow. It's not intimidating. And then we have great shore diving down in the Lauderdale by the Sea area. We've got off the boats. We've got some great sites. And so we use a lot of these for training. So if you do take any of these camps or classes with us, your kids will get firsthand on these dive sites.
So fun fact, Broward County actually has, we just looked this up, 24 miles of continuous coastline, all surrounded by coral reef. And we have over 100 wrecks in the area. Some sunk by accident, but most intentionally sunk as part of our artificial reef program.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're awesome for diving here.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was amazing too, I was training 2 junior open water students and kneeling down in the sand at Blue Heron Bridge. And one of my students was, doing all these hand signals. And I thought it was someone who had just swam behind us. And as it turned out, it was a manatee. I turned around, huge manatee. And
so
how fun is that?
Yeah, to dive with that, that's awesome.
Exactly. Plus, it's also a place that I tell parents after the kids get certified, even if you have one parent who's certified and one who's not, the parent who's not certified can literally snorkel above and watch your child dive, so it's, Blue Heron Bridge is amazing.
Awesome. All right. So let's go into what is the age to scuba? All right. Cheryl, I'm going to hide you again so people can see this better.
Okay.
Okay. So everybody, here we go. All right. The age to scuba. We have programs that start as early as the 8 to 10-year-old range. We're going to have Cheryl talk to you. That's her specialty. She loves the 8 to 10-year-old range. But those are not certification programs. Kids can get certified as early as 10 years of age. That's when the open water diver certification starts. That's the first level to get your kids started. However, that age range from 10 to 11, there is depth restrictions. At that 10 to 11 age, they can only dive to 40 feet. That is the depth restriction for that age. But when you go to the next age range, 12 to 15, you get that junior rating, and 15 and older, you're certified for life. And so that gives you that 60-foot range if you do the open water diver. But at the age of 12, you can also do other programs like an advanced course. I even believe the rescue courses starts at 12. So, there's all types of other continuing education that you can get your kids into beyond just the basic first stage, which is that open water diver. So let's go ahead and pop over. Bubble Makers and SEAL Team. So this is Cheryl's specialty, and I'm going to go ahead and bring Cheryl in. Hold on, Cheryl. Don't talk yet. Let's bring you in here. And Cheryl's going to tell you about the Bubble Maker and SEAL Team experience. So there's Cheryl. Oops, wrong way. Hold on. All right, Cheryl, go ahead.
Are we ready? I'm not sure if I should be talking.
Yes, you have to talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start talking because I don't see anyone else. But basically, Bubble Maker is a great way to start your child off. 8 years old, really 8 and 9 years old. But what we do is it's only a few hour course. So usually 2 to 3 hours. It's pool only. And we basically just introduce the kids to breathing underwater. So it's all about just having fun. Of course, as I'm putting together their gear, I'm explaining it to them and, naming the parts of the regulator and all that stuff. And of course, all the safety, not holding your breath, equalizing your ears, all that. But it's really meant just as kind of a quick introduction to get them used to breathing underwater in a fun way. So I bring hula hoops. I also have a shark that we play catch underwater. I swim around with the kids and they usually love it. So that's basically Bubble Maker. And the next thing is SEAL Team. So SEAL Team basically consists of 5 aqua missions. So generally when it's not COVID, we were running camps that were 5 days. So during the 5-day camp, each day we would do an aqua mission. So there would be a video that we would watch first, and it would explain what we're going to do. So whether it was alternate air share, whether it was breathing off a free-flowing regulator. So basically clearing a partially flooded mask, clearing a fully flooded mask, removing and replacing your mask. All the skills basically that the kids do when they get certified, we end up doing in SEAL Team, but it's taken much slower and also in a fun way. What's also nice about doing SEAL Team, as I said, it's mostly 8 and 9-year-olds. And what's great about SEAL Team is there's no pressure. So we do it. I obviously show them everything, explain everything. But when it's time for them to say, clear a partially flooded mask, if they don't want to, I just tell them, just tell me no. And then we move along. We try something else. When you're getting certified, there are skills that you have to complete to get certified. But with SEAL Team, it's really fun. And then, we'll learn a skill. And then again, we'll practice buoyancy, swimming through hula hoops. We play catch underwater. We, part of SEAL Team actually in the advanced, it's called Master SEAL. We actually even make like a fake wreck and we swim around the wreck. I have underwater slates. We draw, we map the wreck. So both of these courses are really fun. As Nicole mentioned, they are not a certification course. When you complete the SEAL Team, if you were to do the 5-day, which this year would have to be broken up because we're only doing it in sections of 2 days at a time. And that class would be about 6 hours. But if your child takes it multiple times and actually progresses and finishes the 5-day, then they actually do get a paper, get a pick. So just like your regular certification card. But as I said, it only really, it's just something to show their friends. So that's it for me. I think, Nicole, are you back?
All right. Yep, we are back. So, okay. So moving on, we have the open water scuba diver. And I'm going to go ahead and let Adam take over because that's the camp he's going to be teaching this summer.
I am excited. All right. So open water is the first certification level. It's kind of like if you think of martial arts, you have like, your white belt, your yellow belt, orange belt, all the way to the black belt, right? So like it's your entry certification into scuba diving. You have to be an open water scuba diver to be able to scuba dive with a buddy, not in the presence of an instructor. And so what we've done is we've taken the open water course and we've expanded it and made it super fun, super engaging, super interactive. The course itself is now a camp, and we set it up over 5 days. So it's going to involve academics in the classroom. It's going to involve days in the pool. It's going to involve days out in the ocean scuba diving. And then through all of that, we've intermingled some fun activities, some extra learning things about the organisms that live in the environment. And we're going to go through a lot of the rescue and skills that you need for survival when you are scuba diving. So everything from clearing your mask to recovering your regulator, practicing good buoyancy skills in the water. They're going to get all of that. And I think the way that we're doing it is going to be so much more detailed, and they're going to get so much more of it because it's like this whole week is spread out just to focus on that. So it's going to get reiterated, and they're going to get lots of practice, and it's going to go at a nice pace. I think the kids are going to get a lot out of the way we've organized this open water course. So it is the open water course that we've expanded into this cool 5-day camp. So there's pool sessions, ocean sessions, academics in the classroom, and I think that's pretty much covers it.
What's the age for open water?
Okay, so like we went back before, you can start you can start 10 years old, and then you're a junior open water until you are 15. And then the restriction there is depth. So you can dive up to 60 feet. Now, at 15, if from 10 to 12, you're restricted to 40 feet. So what we're doing is you're not going, as an open water diver, you're only certified to 60 feet anyway, even as an adult. Okay, so we're not going to do anything super deep for the beginning. It's everything's nice and shallow.
But our camps are starting at age 12.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So camp is starting at age 12 and going up to 16, we said?
Yeah.
Okay, so 12 to 16 is the age group demographic for our camp.
Awesome. Okay, and then
that's right there. Cool. All right. So advanced open water. Now we take, remember I was talking about how it's like a martial arts belt system. This is your second belt in the scuba diving sequence. So advanced open water starts at 12 years old. And there are academics for this as well, but it's not as much theory and curriculum based as open water. Open water, you're learning everything from buoyancy to how light changes underwater. There's physics. Because everything's different. It's a whole new world. I think that's Little Mermaid who's saying that song, right? So in advance, you've got that under your belt already. And now we focus more on specific types of diving. So there's 5 dives that you do that are based on specific types of diving skills. So it's basically an introduction to that type of diving. So let's say that, like your child really has a fascination for wrecks, shipwrecks. Like I said, there's over 100 wrecks here in Broward County alone. So one of those dives we could do is a wreck dive, and that itself can be its own specialty later. So it's an introduction to the different types of diving that we offer. A lot of diving here in Florida. There could be drift diving. There could be if they're having issues with their buoyancy, we practice on their buoyancy. If they really like fish, the 2 mandatory dives though for that advance is navigation, and then because they are under though of the age, the deep diver, they're still restricted, which I believe is 70 feet. Okay, yeah. So they don't get to go. So they get to go to the full maximum depth yet if they're an advanced diver, but it does give them that extra 10 feet from the open water if they become an advanced open water diver. So yeah, that's advanced open water diver.
awesome. Okay. All right. So the certified diver camp. So that's going to be my specialty, and also Meg Lovelace is the other one, and Jeremy Tanner. We're going to be doing some of these this summer, and we had a lot of fun last year doing some of these because of COVID, and we didn't want to have too many camps going on. It was a way to get the divers who are already certified out to get some logged dives, because a lot of times what happens is parents will get their kids certified, and then what? They're going to go dive, they're going to log, get out there. And maybe it's been since last summer since they dove. So this is a great opportunity to get the kids that are already certified to go out and do some dives for the summer. So we have ones that are booked. They're just 1-day camps, and you can book multiple days if you need to do like 5 days, but we call them 1-day camps because maybe, with restrictions on what, the parents have, or if there's other camps the kids are doing. But this allows you guys to book doing boat dives or Blue Heron bridge dives. And these are shallow dives. So when we book on the boat, we take the kids in nice shallow reefs, anywhere between 30 to 40 foot at the most. And that's a 2-tank dive. So they get to log 2 dives off the boat. The other one-day shallow dive is the Blue Heron Bridge that we talked about earlier. And Meg up in our Riviera store, she will help you guys navigate around the Blue Heron Bridge on 1 tank, because usually you only need 1 tank, because remember we talked about how the kids don't have to breathe too much. And they could spend anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half underwater, permitting their breathing, and also if they get cold, because kids tend to get cold. So if they start shivering, we're not going to let them keep diving. But basically, the Blue Heron Bridge day dive is an option, and the boat dives. Introducing new for 2021. We did not do this last year. So I do have some of my campers, and hopefully they're listening. They have done a lot of these reefs already, and they're like, hey, teacher, I really want to try some different types of diving. So this year, we're introducing 2 new camps, the Wreck Dive Day Camp and the Blue Heron Bridge Night Dive Camp. And so the Wreck Dive Day Camp consists of going out on a 2-tank boat dive with an instructor. And that camp, we're going to set it up so they do not deep wrecks, but shallow wrecks. So anywhere in that frame of 50, 60 feet. And if they have the advanced, we can go a little bit deeper. But basically, there are some wrecks that are nice and shallow that make it easy for us to get to. But sometimes parents or even other instructors, they get nervous about taking kids on wrecks because they're not sure if they're going to, have the right buoyancy to do the wreck diving properly, or they fear the kids might run and swim into a wreck. And so we're going to corral them in. We're going to teach them how to dive on wrecks. So that is one of our day camps that we're providing this summer. The second one is the Blue Heron Bridge Night Dive Camp. And we're super excited because how many kids get to do night dives? It's so rare that we see kids doing the night dive. And if you are doing the night dive, that's probably because your parents really, really love night diving. But most parents are like, no, I don't want to take my kid night diving. I don't want to, be responsible for them. That's okay. We'll do it for you. So we do have Jeremy Tanner and Meg from our Riviera store, and Jeremy's at our Boca store. They are going to be running the Blue Heron Bridge Night Dive Camps. And they set up certain dates because you have to dive at the Blue Heron Bridge during the high tide time. And so there's certain dates that work for that time period. And what that means is we're able to give them this extra cool dive where before they go on the dive, the instructors are going to go over things like, how do you navigate at night? How do you use a light when you're diving? What are the differences between day dive and night diving? And so they're going to kind of go over that. And to be honest, any of these dives that we're doing, we can actually apply those to some of the specialties that go along with the agency that they're certified in. And so it helps their kids grow confidence in their skills, and we can get them to get another certification card. These Diver Dave camps are limited to 2 kids per instructor. And so if you want to book them, you got to go on our website, and I'm going to pull that up right now so you guys can see it. Let's see.
Summertime.
No, they can't see you. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm just trying to find the slide here. Here we go. All right. So if you go to www.force-e.com, okay, let me bring it in. And let me hide this. There we go. All right. So if you go to www.force-e.com, go to courses, the drop-down menu, it says youth programs. And this is the header here. And if you scroll down to the bottom here, it says choose a camp and order soon. And these are all the camps that we've been talking about. We've got the open water in Boca Raton with Jeremy, open water in Pompano with Adam. We got the advanced in Pompano with Adam. And then these are the different day camps, the Wreck Diver Day Camp, the Night Dive Day Camp, and then the different day camps at each store location. So you've got your Boca Raton, your Pompano, and your Riviera. And so you can go in there, and when you click on one of these, you'll see that there's a drop-down menu, and you can check which date you'd like to do it with, or sign your kid up, and boom, add it to your cart, and you are set. So if you don't see one of the dates available, it's probably because it got filled up. So let me go ahead and hide here and bring back into the stream. And again, these are you have to be a certified diver to do these camps because these are going to be a little bit more advanced than the camps that we talked about earlier. So you need to have that certification to be able to go and do some of these. So get started with the camps with Adam and Jeremy, and then you'll have plenty of time this summer to go and do some of these day camps after you're done with one of the camps that they provide. Hold on, Cheryl, let me bring you in. Okay, and let me bring and hide this. And there's Cheryl. Okay, go ahead.
Hi guys, I just wanted to remind you, so when you're looking at the website, if you are interested in either Bubble Maker or the SEAL team, the Aqua Mission 1 and 2, which would be 2 days, the Bubble Maker, which is just a few hours, if you go onto the website, you will not see a sign up for that. So what you'll do is go ahead and call one of the 4C stores and they'll give you my phone number or or they'll give me your information and we can touch base because those, again, we're limiting to 2 students and it is pool only. So we'll arrange it with my schedule and your schedule and we'll make it happen. And yeah, so sign up. Great way to get your kids interested in scuba diving and fun, safe, and no pressure.
And also not to forget that we do offer private lessons. So if a camp isn't the way that you guys want to do the the certification, then you can do a private lesson with any of our instructors. And sometimes if it's available, if you have your own pool and your own boat, there are some of our instructors that will do privates and work with your pool and boat situation. So give us a call and we can give you more information, or you can always write to info@force-e.com and I'll get you to the correct instructor. And some other things too, just wanted to let you know, let's see, we have a question. I'm just going to answer this one before we move on. Jen asked, my son's 11 and is certified. Will he be eligible to do the night dive and the wreck dive? Yes, he will be. So go ahead and sign him up. Is there anything for, Gary wants to know, is there anything for 6-year-olds in a pool like for a morning? Unfortunately, Gary, it has to be 8 and older. All the different agencies, PADI, SSI, SDI, they all require 8 and older. And I'm going to speak, and if you guys know a little bit more information, why is that, these age restrictions for diving? Well, one is I know that they've done, a lot of research and studies, and they're worried that, with decompression and children with their growth plates and growing and the off-gassing that's needed for diving, it's not well studied. And so they don't want to, put a child in that situation where this could harmfully affect their bodies and their growth and their development. And also it's for a maturity level. Yes, where my child is literally growing up in the scuba diving community of 4C, she's probably going to want to learn to dive. I mean, she already asked me, Mommy, can I dive yet? And I'm like, no, baby, you got to snorkel. So, it comes to a maturity thing. And I think that's why a lot of the agencies have picked to all go with the 8 and older. However, if you do have a 6-year-old, that's okay. Give us a call. We can set up snorkel camps. And we have another instructor we've got a couple of instructors that do mermaiding camps. So if your kid really wants to get into learning how to kick around with a mermaid tail, there's those as well that we can offer. We just didn't have that information going into this Facebook Live quite yet because some of the instructors, they need to figure out what their schedules are for the summer. But there is opportunities for 6-year-olds to do stuff in the pool, and we can also do in the ocean, but as a snorkeling activity, not a diving activity. Does anybody have any instructors? Do you guys have any comments about kids and restrictions with age there?
I mean, you covered a lot of it there.
All right. Yeah.
I know other instructors that also are like, even though I'm an instructor, I agree with this. They agree with the setup of how they've aged appropriately for all the certifications. So I think it's pretty much standard across the industry that everybody agrees that's appropriate.
Okay. So another thing to cover is, what are the parents thinking?
That's kind of what we were just talking about. Like, I feel like we were on that track already.
Yeah. So a couple of things. We do work with a lot of parents because we've been teaching for a while. And so I'm just going to share a story. Last summer I met a few parents. Some of them were certified divers since, 10 years, 20 years ago, but they hadn't dove since, the kids decided that they want to start diving. And so it required a couple of things. One, I needed to convince the parents to do a scuba review with me, but also to let them trust me and take their kids and do the class separate, so that way they could learn it on their own. Because the one biggest thing that happens when a parent takes a class with a student is that because you have that nurturing, parenting
aspect,
the feelings, you're naturally going to want to set up their gear for them. You're going to want to do their homework for them. They're going to want to teach them all types of stuff. And it's like, no. They need to learn it on their own.
At the end of the day, it's their certification.
Mm-hmm.
They have,
And so we tend to like to tell parents, while it's okay to get certified, I mean, obviously we can still do it, but when you're in that class, let them be independent. That actually gets them to be responsible for themselves, but also to gain that confidence and not depend on you.
That confidence earlier back at the beginning,
And besides, when you become, when you get them to become your new scuba buddy, they're going to carry all the gear for you. Yeah. They might even set the gear for you. I mean, there's some great benefits to getting your kids to be divers so that they can help you out. So now going back, what are parents thinking? They're too young. Well, it really does depend on the maturity level of the child. I can't say that all 10-year-olds are ready to get certified. I've had issues with, having some that, maybe weren't around the water a lot as they grew up. And so they're a little timid and shy about it. And that's okay. That's when you kind of back off and you say, listen, it's not that you can't ever be a diver. It's just maybe right now we should not focus on it and come back to it when we have a little bit more of a maturity level that you can understand the concepts. Because again, this is teaching a skill that requires a lot of thinking and, fast acting in case of an emergency. So they have to be able to understand those concepts that we're teaching them. And so I tend to find if I have a student, you just need a couple more pool sessions or maybe some more open water sessions. It's not that we're not going to certify them. It's just we need a little bit extra time. So when you say that they're too young, it really isn't. It's just, what is the time frame you need to get them to be confident enough in themselves to become a diver?
Just to piggyback off that, like what I was going back to what I was talking about, the open water course, all of those skills that we do, like, clearing your mask, regulator recovery, it's not just, I have to figure out how to clear my mask via regulator. These are problem-solving skills. They're all applicable to something that's going to happen on the dive, and so you're preparing for when that does happen. So that's why we're going over and teaching it in the pool first. The diving is the swimming, the buoyancy, and all that, but all these other skills are problem-solving skills, so that they're coping it. They're dealing with tasks, so that maturity really comes in there. And again, that's another reason why they gain confidence, because to them it's just, maybe I cleared my mask. But then when you're underwater and all of a sudden they get water in their mask on their own without me having to tell you clear your mask, you're going to clear your mask. So that's so you start doing it that way. That's why that goes into that maturity.
Cheryl, did you have anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah, I was just going to say exactly. We teach for like worst case scenario. What happened? How do you handle this if it were to happen to you? And like you said, Nicole, we've all had some students that, were a little more timid and weren't quite ready to take off their mask or whatever. And when they do get certified, those are skills that have to be accomplished. So, but there's no hurry. I always tell parents at the end of the day, we want them to love diving, so they'll do it forever. If we just push and, make them do it and they don't like it, they won't ever do it again. But for me, I'll just say a quick thing. One of my favorite stories ever is I was in SEAL team. I had a little girl 2 years in a row, and she was a fish. She just loved it. But funny enough, when I certified her, every time she would smile underwater, the regulator would drop out of her mouth. And it was awesome because she would literally just, arm sweep, pick it up, put it back in, purge, and go. And it's so funny. And I talked to her grandpa, because it was her grandfather who wanted her to get certified, because he's a big diver. And he's been diving with her since. And I said, does it still happen? He's like, oh yeah, she just loves to smile underwater. So it happens, but it's no big deal. And I just love that. You know, it just comes from being confident. So, like I said, when we certify kids, we just work with them and we make them comfortable, and it's great. They love it.
And that's, I was just going to say with that, the benefit of doing it as a camp, you know, 20 hours a day, every day, so they're immersed in it. So if they come up with those challenges, we have time to work on it with them throughout the whole, and they're hearing in class, in the pool, they're going to do it again. Their friends, like they have buddies around them doing it. So it helps them get over those challenges if they arise for them. That way in a much more controlled and relaxed sort of manner. One of my teachers, Captain Lance Robinson, shout out to him, you know, always said that, you know, there is no have to in diving, you know, like it's you know, there are things that you do, but there's a measure of safety. And so, so we learn around it so that it doesn't get to that, you know, that point. I think that doing it this way is a great approach to getting these kids in the water.
Okay, another thing, what am I thinking getting my child certified? I hear this quite a bit. There are man-eating animals in the ocean. My kid is going to get eaten by something. And, well, what do you think about that?
That's my biggest pet peeve, especially with sharks. What I love sharks. We have awesome critters here in the water. And yes, they are apex predators, but they're not the story that we all tell about sharks, especially what you see on TV. You know, the greatest part about being a diver is if you learn to be comfortable and controlled in the water, you start to become an observer of nature in the water. And you see that nature tells its own story, which is actually different than the story we've been telling of it the whole time. Nature speaks for itself. And so you start to see, I've been encountered so many times with awesome hammerheads and bull sharks. And at most, they're just curious. They're like, what are you two? What are you doing in here? You know, and then they go their own way. And so, great to do with Maxwell. But they, as far as like predators in the water, it is not like that at all. I mean, most of the time, to be honest, the sharks are scared to be around you. You know, they see your bubbles, they're like, oh my God, what is this thing? And they swim off. So if that's your biggest concern, I mean, it's really not justified.
And if they're with us, guess what? We'll throw ourselves in front of
Absolutely.
your kids.
I mean, I'll throw myself in front of sharks.
Yeah. Don't worry. Mama Bear over here, she'll make sure that they don't get bit by a shark or eaten by a shark. But actually, it's kind of funny. It's not just sharks. So I had a student last year who really wanted to be a scuba diver, but she told me she was afraid of fish. And I said, how am I going to teach you to scuba dive?
My mom is afraid of fish.
Yeah, she's like,
that
I just don't want them to touch me. Yes. And I said, okay. Yeah. So I had to hold her hand, and she would squeeze my hand if a fish came close to her. And I mean, it could be a little small butterfly fish. And this girl,
yeah, puff up on me.
Then literally she would squeeze my hand because she'd be so nervous. That was on dives 1 and 2. The next day, didn't have a problem.
Yeah, right.
She was totally fine, and she learned to relax and learned to really enjoy it. And she's still diving. That's a shout out to Sarah. Sarah, if you're watching, that was you. Now she's a diver, and she comes to diving with me now. Cheryl, do you have any problems with the parents talking about creatures or any stories there?
Well, I do think it's funny because sometimes the parents will say, well, we just don't want to see sharks, or we just don't want to see eels. And it, you know, my response is always like, it's the ocean. We see what we see. You know, it's not like we can call and get a reservation or whatever. But yeah, I tell them the same thing. You know, diving teaches kids respect for the underwater world and the animals that we see. But also, I agree with you. You know, generally sharks, they swim the other way. They don't like the noise we make with the regulators. They don't like the bubbles. So, you know, I've never had a problem. Usually the kids, even if they are timid, like you said, Nicole, you know, once they see like the turtle or whatever, they're trying to swim towards it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is actually a chapter that's covered in the open water manual that we go over. And it's all about having respect for the wildlife. And when you respect the wildlife, you know, you're out of that danger because you are, you know, keeping your hands to yourself. You're not disturbing it. And if you're not disturbing the aquatic wildlife, then you're not putting yourself in a position where there could be harm.
Okay. And the last point is, okay, you parents that don't dive, that's okay. We'll take your kids diving for you.
Yeah, that's why we're here. I don't mind it.
So I had another family that the parents didn't dive, and their teenage son and their youngest 10-year-old little daughter wanted to become certified divers. And so I got them certified, and then they dove with me every week, once a week, every week last summer. And it was a lot of fun because they either did dives together, or sometimes I would do one and not the other. And so they got to have fun together, but then separate. And then the parents were always like, oh, they had a great time. Thank you so much. The older one, I actually taught him to do lobster diving, and he would bring home lobsters for his parents to eat.
That's cool.
And they love that idea. So if you're worried that you're not a diver and your kids want to be divers, that's okay. That's why we made these certified diver day camps for the summer, because you can send them to us and we'll take them diving. And we can do it year round too. But you know, that's why these certified diver camps were created, was for that right there. If you're too busy if you are a diver and you're too busy to get out and dive with your kids, that's okay. Send them to us. If you're not a diver, send them to us. So awesome. Well, guys, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate your time, and we just wanted to give you guys that information that a lot of people seek when it comes to making the decision to get their kids certified, or to have them do programs with scuba camps. And we hopefully got all the information out to you. And if you have any questions, you can call one of the stores and talk to one of us, or you can write to info@force-e.com. And I'm the one that answers those emails, and we can get you some more information. So thank you again, Cheryl, for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And we also had Adam here. And
Thanks for having me.
like I said, we've got Meg up in Riviera and Jeremy up at the Boca store. And we are all here to help you guys get your kids certified and diving this summer.
Dive, dive, dive.
All right.
Great.
See you, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.